Good afternoon, good morning, depending where you are in this beautiful country. I don't know about all of you, but I'm really excited for the election to be over in the next 2 weeks so we can all get back to our regularly scheduled programs. As I always say, regardless of what happens, we're all going to wake up in the same homes with the same responsibilities and the same things that we have to do. So try not to get too into this, as the world will always play out the world the way it's going to play out. So, we talked about this morning, and I wanted to continue the conversation today is exclusive versus non-exclusive. When a buyer says to you, well, I really don't want to make a commitment to one agent, what do you say? Anybody?
That's my problem, so that's what I'm hoping to find out.
Colleen?
Did you say me?
Yeah, you.
Say the question again, okay? Or the
If
statement.
you go to a buyer consultation, they say, this is really great, Colleen, but we don't want to just commit to one agent. What do you tell the buyer?
Oh, okay. I hear what you're saying. You say you don't want to commit to one agent. Can you share with me why?
Well, we feel that if we work with many people, we'll have more opportunities.
Yep, I understand that. However, the way I work is I work with one set of buyers individually who are committed to me because I commit myself to the buyers, and I work very hard on their behalf, doing things behind the scenes to make sure I find them the right property. So I guess from there, I would just say, see what they say from there.
So ready to watch this. So you said right? And
Yeah.
what we want to make sure is it's about them, right? So I is about me, you is about you, right?
Right.
So when they say they want to have more opportunities, you're going to say, look, I completely understand that. We are always happy to bring you out one time to see if it's a good fit for you. And it's also a good fit for us. And
Right.
based on that, you should take a decision. But regardless, if you work with me or someone else that might be a better fit for you, you should commit to one person. I'd be happy to share why if you'd find that valuable.
I hear you.
Right. And then you could
Now,
say,
what if they come back and say, well, we're not going to sign anything because, we have at Compass, we have one showing buyer's form. So what if they say they don't want to sign anything?
and I would say that's great. You had mentioned that you felt that blank and blank and blank, and I would refer back to the things that they said that they found most valuable. And if those are not resources that support your goal, like I'm whatever you do, I'm with you 100%. And if that's not right for you, that's fine, right? Then we can't proceed forward, and that's okay. And that's it.
Yeah.
So, look, the biggest thing that this brings up for me, for all of you, right? You see, I said for me, for all of you, right? Not just for me, right? Because it's about you. The conversations are about growing your business. Is the difference between paid and unpaid, right? If you go back pre-NAR settlement, right? Or like the new industrial revolution, you would work with a buyer or you'd meet a buyer and those compensation offers, you'd collections, you do all this stuff for them. And that all has to stop, right? I met someone at one of our events in free coaching and they're like, I've done all these collections and I spent all this time. They work with someone else. And I'm like, what do you do, Shrug? I said, don't do paid work for free. So there has to be a clear line of what you offer in terms of a free consultation versus what is a paid service, right? You go to any attorney, doctor, every other business in the world, they don't do their job for you when you're not getting paid. They give you an idea of what it is. They provide value. They see if it's a mutual good fit for both parties. And then if both parties agree, they proceed. The other part is just remember this. You all are luxury brands. Is luxury for everybody? Lenny, just say no. You go into Louis Vuitton, Chanel, and still the idea of how much a handbag costs in life just makes you want to vomit, right? So I can't understand it. It's a bag that you put stuff in. But I'm a man. I'm not going to understand that. But to a woman, there's different things. There's branding, there's the strap, the feel, the look, how it matches their outfits. I've done my research here, right? There's a lot of different things. But if I walk in and to Louis Vuitton or Chanel and I'm trying to get one of their bags for $500, that maybe they might show me a little purse, right? And then if I start going back and forth about the price, they could say, great, this just isn't right for you. So luxury services are not for everybody. If people don't see the value in you, then either A, they're the wrong people, or B, you did a bad presentation and communicated what you offer in the context of what they want. All right. So how many people have written down on a piece of paper who their ideal client is? Anybody? All right. Now this is where I start to get a little worried, right? You guys are all pretty good at implementing what we share. This is the most important thing for you to bring into next year and the rest of your life. We did a survey on our last call, and the average agent works with 3 to 4 bad buyers a year, which is anywhere from 90 to 120 hours. Imagine if you took half of that time and invested it in prospecting and half the time on role playing and skill building. Can any of you look me square in the eye and tell me you wouldn't have more money, a better business, and a better quality of life? The answer is no, right? So I want you to take a piece of paper out right now and draw a T. Donna, your T is going to be mental. My biggest fear, someone asked me the other day, what's your biggest fear in virtual coaching? I'm like, it's that someone's trying to look at a Zoom camera while they drive and I'm going to watch a car accident on one of my calls. It scares the shit out of me. Like I see people looking, I'm like, stop. Right? So you draw a T, and on the left side, it's clients I love. And on the right side, clients I don't want to work with. Or clients I hate, right? Love and hate's a very good parallel. Now think about clients that you love, right? People that see your value, want to pay, want to sign an agreement, that are collaborative, right? Like think about the things you enjoy most about working with clients, right? Clients that I hate, no boundaries, want to work with multiple agents, think that what we do is not valuable, right? Like think about that. And you need to list these out in as many details as possible. Yes or no, do we all have PTSD and trauma over bad experiences with clients in the past? Right? I will share one of mine with you. And part of this, I was young and in my like late 20s at this point. And what I did in full transparency definitely had some ego involved, right? So I beat out 5 people, 5 other agents in this pitch for this $1 million house, right? I gave them a list of stuff. When I'm telling you I was prepared, I was prepared. I paid for an appraisal in advance. I had my written marketing plan. I had a contractor. I had the appraiser give me, if they redid the house, the after values to bring their house from a C3 to a C2 that raised their property about 10%, right? $100,000. I found the contractor. I managed the contractor. I picked out all the tiles and everything. I did a lot of work for many, many, many months, right? But me at that point, like on like this high of everything is going well, I'm getting everything and I'm doing a better job, I think, than anybody else. Guess what I didn't do? I did not get an exclusive right to sell sign, because why would somebody not work with me, right? Stupid me. So what ended up happening is we ended up having a discrepancy in price. So do you know what they did? They hired somebody else. I had mapped out down to the angles of how we shot each room. I storyboarded out a video. Not only did they hire somebody else, they took all of my stuff and just gave it to somebody else. And like in the end, if we couldn't have agreed on price, I would have listed at their price, right? So after this all happened, this was a doctor that was referred by another doctor. I worked with all the other people. And the guy sends me a letter. right? Or a note or a card, whatever you want to call it. Now, hindsight's 2020. Looking back, I probably should not have done this, but I did anyway because I was young and stupid at the time. So he wrote me a letter. Hey, Shrug, this is just business. I hope you don't take it personally. Like, we really like you as a person, everything. So we just wanted to offer you something for your time. So he wrote me a check for $1,000. So it's like a $40,000 commission at the end of all of this. And so I wrote him a letter back that says, based on the way this went, and that money was the number one factor for you, I think you need this more than I do. And I sent him his check back. Well, I don't want it. I'm not like a person that's like begging and working for, oh, here, like, thank you for 6 months of work, like endless hours, trips back and forth, getting us extra money. And I learned right then and there that there's a difference, right? So we all have those traumas that we bring with us every single day. We need to get rid of all of these clients once and for all. So once you have this list, right, this T-chart that I'm talking about, it will become very easy for you to understand who is good and who is bad. Because if you don't know where you're going, you will end up anywhere. If you don't know who you're looking for, you will end up with anyone. And that's the way the world works. And if you could take your time back and do something more productive, like love on your current clients and love on yourself by practicing and role playing. Look, there's so many, we highlighted this in our 11:30 session. There's so many little nuances in this transaction. To think that you're going to master all of it in a day, a week, a month, even a year, it is not logical thinking. Hearing something and knowing how to master and do something at top of your field is an endless process. I don't know why, but lately I just keep hearing, but I've heard this stuff already. I'm like, yeah, but you don't know, you don't know how to do it. So what are you going to do? Listen to one thing for a period of time, take a few of the things and then go that work well, and then go hear something new and then try to put everyone needs to commit to one system, whether it's here or someone else. You got to go all in on one way to do business. Putting all these different pieces together is a haphazard puzzle, and it's never going to get you to that top place where all of you I know can be. I tell a lot of like my top like real trends clients, I'm like, look, if you had to pitch against some of the people in the group that are like up and coming stars and that have great businesses, or not just in that top 1%, I go, if a person was objective, you would lose. People coasting on their name and market share is not going to work. It is a race to the bottom. Because when you have to start paying for stuff, it is a very different conversation. Very different. Right? So let's get clear. Let's develop our skills and let's practice them over and over and over and over and over again till we're great at what we do. Because from there, you'll have more business. You'll need to hire an assistant. You'll need to learn to delegate. You'll want to add other lead systems on, right? Like there is a progression to this business, but in the end, the majority of people's business comes from the people that they know. What's the best way to get more referrals? Client experience. That's it. 90% of the agents at Compass have past clients in centers of influence businesses. The majority. This is not a cold lead company. All right, who has questions? Anybody?
I have a comment. I'll tell you what I've learned from listening to this and being new is that I just need to turn those people away and actually, say this is it and cut it at that point, because I know where it's going. I can see, and I keep on writing a contract for each property, and that doesn't make sense for me. And then I'm chasing them to sign it before I show it and going through all of that. I'm learning that that's a waste of my time. And in the end, what do I have? I have nothing. And so I'd be better off grabbing that time, as you say, and using it elsewhere to build myself, to learn something else, or to practice rather than this person who calls me up at 9 a.m. and wants to change an appointment that's for tomorrow and tell me I now need to do it at 11 a.m. You drop everything you're doing because I want to go.
No, and look, if you're newer, right, and you need someone to practice on, you know, they're never going to buy a house. I'd practice all my lines on these people. I would do whatever I could, right? So it's like where you are in your business is also really important, and people that respect time and structure, right? Like it's not. At least the guy called you today, right? He's a 24-hour notice. You got that going for you, right? So there's like some courtesy, right? But it's like I need to go at 11. Well, you didn't even ask if I was available at 11.
Right. Well, it happened already behind me. I was scheduled for a Monday to go show it. She called me at 9 o'clock on Sunday morning and wanted to go see it at 11 o'clock on Sunday. And I already had open houses, things that I was working that I couldn't accommodate it. And the comment was, well, who else on your team is available? I need to go.
Yep.
It was an eye opener for me.
Mm-hmm. The people are unbelievable, right? Like it's the idea that thinks that people go on websites and look, this is a big misconception in real estate. People think if they can go on a website like Zillow, that people are on there just sitting around, that they don't get paid for a job. They're getting paid by Zillow to just open doors because people feel like they want to look at them. It's crazy. We have to take back control of these situations and work, like help the people that want to be helped. We can't help the unhelpable. And you know, your name is John, it's not on demand.
Right. And then I got something else for you with it. So then they are making offers, but they don't listen to, I do a market analysis. I figure out where I think the house is going to be. And so far, every time I've hit it within $5,000 of where it came. But they offer 45,000 less. So you go through all this work of putting through an offer for
Ready?
somebody.
Here's what you say to these people. Be like, look, based on what other buyers are paying for homes in our strategy for making an offer, we've been able to get within $5,000 of every offer. What do you think has to change so we can win a bid for you and a home? And see what they say.
Okay. And then offer, I guess, the line of we'll have to do one of two things, either decrease your expectations or increase what you're willing to pay for a home.
Again, you're going to say either raise your price point to meet your expectations or adjust your expectations to meet your price point,
Okay.
right? What would work better for you? Adjust is better than change or decrease. Lenny?
Yep.
Yeah, I was just going to make a comment. So I'm 23, 24 years in the business, so I'm a newbie. And I've experienced the roller coaster of needing commission, so commission breath, right? And what I've learned over time is that every time I've compromised my minimum standards, if you will, they've always come back to bite me in the butt. And so unfortunately, I think a real factor in the industry is commission breath, right? The need for income. And because of that, sometimes we compromise what we know is right, the right thing or wrong thing to do. But then again, too, if you find yourself in that cycle, there's nothing more liberating than thanking a client and wishing them good luck with somebody else as well.
Yeah. I look, I don't think there's anything, I don't think there is anything that you can do to change someone's unrealistic expectations. I really don't, right? Because in the end of the day, what they're doing is their choice. Right. And that we can't change. And so if once you understand that, then you realize your job is a conduit and as a facilitator. And that's really it.
I had to use this in my other life, change the subject a little bit, but a bunch of you know that I have a restaurant. And I had to do this with a restaurant customer last week. He sent me, the people are just the same in any career, in any, field they're in. He sent me this email that his wife got more pasta than he did. And he's never coming back again because his shrimp scampi at $38 was not worth ever coming back again because he didn't get enough pasta. And I said, I understand what you're saying. Our pastas are all, we make our own pasta. They're all measured. They're all weighed. You didn't mention the lump crab that was in your pasta, but if $38 for a lump crab and shrimp scampi is more than you think that you don't see the value in, I don't think you're our right customer. And thanks for letting me know. But you know what I mean? Like, he was doing it to intimidate me, to try to get me to give him money back, or, oh, I'm sorry, but no, you're not that's not a lot of money. We're not making a ton of money off of your meal. And the same idea, had to tell him you're not the right customer.
Yep. But that goes back to, who is your right customer, right?
Someone that appreciates your value. And if you know you're giving the value, you can stand tall and firm and say, I don't need you because I know that what I'm giving you is value.
You first see the value in yourself, right? That's where all of this starts, right? And if you see the value in yourself, then it's easy to say no to the wrong people. Look, it's like being in adult relationships, right? Like, you can't force another person to see the value in you. You can be who you are and add and bring to the table what you bring, and what another person sees and accepts and acknowledges is up to them, right? But if you think you bring all these things, you don't communicate it well and you don't do it well, they're not going to see the value in it. And it's the same thing with real estate. How many people can wholeheartedly say that they can go through a consultation, whether it's buyers or sellers, really see them and understand what they want, and like this, have a conversation based on helping them get what they want in the context of what you offer, without using the word I and just making the whole thing about them, right? Like, one of the overwhelming responses that we get from our sessions in free coaching month is how in these presentations, they're like fine arts where we really don't say that much, but the other person feels good. Right? You got to remember, when people are moving, right? Most people, if you just recorded an order for a listing consultation, you talk way too much, right? Sales is such a skilled art. And if you realize someone is moving, whether they're buying or selling, the whole thing has to do with them. Think about how many conversations they've had in their home, with their partner, with their spouse, with their job, and all these different things. So if the entire conversation is based on what you can do for them, that does not give them space to really be seen, heard, understood, acknowledged, right? Your service, like, you know how we say build a business that fits into your life? Your service needs to fit into their goals, expectations, and unique situation. We did this in small group settings with all top agents. I'm like, all right, who thinks they could pitch? And I'm like, great, can you do this part? Can you do this part? How do you share the market? How do you share private exclusives? How do you see someone? Do you ask them the magic question? You go through the needs analysis, right? Like, our job is to help understand your lifestyle so your lifestyle fits in your home, not buying a home based on bedrooms, bathrooms, and updates where you end up trying to fit your lifestyle into. Do you know how many people buy homes that seem really exciting, and then when they want to go live within the home, it's off? A lot. There's so much room for improvement, and there's so much room for mastery. And when you get to master something where you can do it over and over and over again, with 90% of the outcome being what you want off of memory and practice, this is where your business really grows, right? But there's like a pitch side and an experience side, right? The pitch is the promise you make somebody. The sale begins when somebody hires you, and that's a client experience, and that's where all your referrals are going to come through, is fulfilling those promises. And then you get into habits and prospecting and lead follow-up and client communications. This is the most complex job, I believe, in amongst any in the world. Because there's, in a transaction, there's so many different moving parts. You have to do it for many different people. And then outside of that, you still have to do customer service, sales, marketing, accounting, right? It's a lot of stuff. So that's why we take the position of mastery, right? Because no matter what is going on, like if you look at any successful sports organization, they have one system and they teach the same system. You either 1 year or 10 years, it's a system because the system works, right? But based on different teams, or in real estate, like different markets, you have to adjust the system, right? So if we had a high interest rate market, we had to adjust the conversations. A no inventory market, right? Like I think it was like we did the 2022 blueprint, right? Like that was all about working in low inventory, right? And how do you get buyers to make these crazy offers, because every house had like, 82 offers on it. But the market dictates how the content and how you communicate changes. Does that make sense to everybody? There's a gentleman by the name of Dan Sullivan, right? He has a program called Strategic Coach. It's like one of the top coaches, and he teaches leadership in the industry. He's had the same program for 30 years, right? I know people who've been in the program for 15 years. There's always some new variety based on kind of like what's going on in the world, but like it's the ability, just like a basketball player practices free throws, a quarterback practices throwing, Tiger Woods practices chipping and putting, right? It's the same thing. And if we're able to take the parallels of what the most successful people are doing in all the other industries and apply those habit to ourselves, you'll win. Because this is the one thing I know that no one else is doing, is working on sharpening their axe every day. They're not in role play groups. They're not in accountability groups. They're not coming to learn and hear. Like, I have such respect for people that show up and put time, money, and resources in an effort to better enrich themselves to help others. Because that's what you're doing, right? Like, all the stuff you're learning here is to create better experiences for your clients. But this is a world and a market that's going to change more over the next 12 months, I think, than we've ever lived through, right? Clear cooperation is a big deal, right? How these buyer's agency stuff is a big deal. The fact that you can't offer compensation and the fact that sellers can change compensation is a big deal. So if you think about it, you can represent a buyer and represent the seller could say a 2.5% agreement, and now you're at 0.5%, 1%, or we don't want to pay because now we have all these offers. You have to be so good at everything else that when that situation comes up, they're not mad at you. But if you got any other part of it wrong and now we have to pay you, like, do you see all these things that can happen? It's like the person Donna mentioned in her restaurant. So please make your T charts. Please look at them once a day and take that filter into every single conversation that you have. Right? So as always, love in my heart. I love you all. I'm going to drop this link in here quickly. We are having an amazing, holiday party. So we would love for as many of you to come. It's on December 18th. So if you do want to make the trip, you can visit local Compass offices. You can always come here and hang out for the day. When I'm telling you we're throwing a party, we're throwing a party. We have 2 bars here that day. We've hired mixologists. We'll have food, decorations. Rory and his chief of staff, you'll see a cool little DJ battle. And we're always thinking about adding some like 10 p.m. karaoke just to keep the night really interesting for everybody. So if you've never come to like an actual like event here, like it'll be an amazing experience. And as of now, we have 7 different events planned for this group next year for opportunities for live in-person get-togethers. So look, I think it's time that we all left our homes and spent more time here together. We just did a retreat for a different group of like individual clients that we work with in Raleigh, and just the energy and the excitement and the connections was really contagious. And look, our whole business was built on just connecting people, right? I always say the best part about CSC is all of you and the relationships that come out of it. So with love in my heart, I love you all, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, everybody.